The purpose of this video is to help you understand what is expected of Standard 6. Standard 6 was added to the Olathe appraisal system a few years ago when the state of Kansas added a requirement that student performance data measures must be part of the appraisal system. So you will notice that on page 104 in Appendix C of the negotiated agreement, it is outlined right here what is included in Standard 6. What that means to you is that Standard 6 isn't scored based on the quality of the data, because we know that every test and every student is different. Standard 6 is actually scored on the quality of your reflection. So to see that in Appendix C on page 105, it goes ahead and explains how an appraisal will score your Standard 6. Okay, in other words, if you have 3 student performance measures over time, so if you're a career educator, that's a 3-year cycle. You'll have 3 pieces of data for each year of your cycle, and you have a summary and a reflection of those data points. You will be marked as accomplished. The last thing I want to show you in the agreement is page 111. 110. 110 is a really great page of the agreement because it has all of the due dates for appraisal no matter what cycle you're in. So what you'll want to do is look in the brown for student performance results summary for the type of educator that you are. So for example, if you are a career educator and you are in your year 3 of the career educator, you will notice, I was on the wrong line there, that your data is due January 15th. Okay, January 15th is the due date for Career Educator Year 3 and New Educator Year 4. Okay, there are due dates for many other points in the evaluation system, and you can see that those due dates are outlined under the brown here. All right, next thing I wanted to show you on Frontline is I wanted to show you where you can find the student performance results log, where Standard 6 goes, and then in case you aren't sure where you are in the cycle of appraisal, this will help you figure that out. So notice I'm under professional growth, I'm not under absences, I'm clicking on the student performance results summary, and then notice right here, it lets me know what is the evaluation cycle I'm on. So I am in a career educator and I am in the 2nd year. In other words, my Standard 6 is not due until January 15th of 2026. However, it is expected that each year you spend some time looking at these data measures, and we negotiated time within the contract day for you to do that, which is what usually happens one of the first days back when we get back in January. Okay, so one thing that I would not suggest that you do is I would not suggest that you add to this over the course of the 3 years or however many years that you have to complete this section and hit save, because something strange could happen. There is a submit button and a save button. A submit is the only way that your appraisal will see it. The save button I have heard people have problems with. I would not, I repeat, I would not add to this form over years. I would keep my data in OneDrive or Google Drive and then copy and paste when it's due. One other thing I wanted to show you is under My Information. So My Info, My Information, My File Library. If you go to Organization Files and you search for the word student, there are 2 documents that might be helpful to you. One is student performance measures, and this is like a 17-page document, okay? And this is just a list of ideas, depending on what you teach, of the kind of data that you could collect. Notice that these aren't outlining requirements. Ultimately, the 3 data points that you should select for each year of your cycle are things that you should pick, and then as long as you have your appraisal or principals support of that selection, then those are the measures that you do. The other thing I wanted to point out here is notice this is a Word document. If you download this document, I will show you what it looks like. I have my data saved in a Google Drive folder, so here's my last year's data. And then if you'll notice, if you open up this document, this is what I saved off of my learning plan, or excuse me, off of Frontline. This document looks just like the form on My Learning Plan or on Frontline, and you can type in it and save it over time. I would highly encourage you to do this rather than type directly onto the Frontline form, unless, of course, you are on the year that you are supposed to submit this. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your building AR, to a member of executive board, or even to me, Angie Powers, your Olathe NEA president.